Alright, the other review we want to do today is solving quadratic equations, and I'm specifically going to do factoring on this case. Now I know some of you like using the quadratic formula, and that's great, but the idea with factoring is a lot of the problems we're going to work with are whole number answers. They work out nice with quadratics. Like this one was on your homework, x squared plus 3x minus 28. The general pattern we're going to do on these is whatever the c term is, the constant at the end, we want two numbers that are going to multiply to get that number, and specifically here multiply to get negative 28, and we want them to add to get 3. Now when I'm stuck on these, what I'll do is I'll actually write out all the things that I know multiply to get negative 28. Just thinking about 28, not negative, I know that would be 1 and 28, 2 and 14, 3 doesn't go into 28, but 4 times 7. Now in this case I need it to be negative 28, so I need one of them to be negative, and I need them to add up to 3. Well, what would work is negative 4 and positive 7. So when I go to factor here, those are going to come into my factors. It'll be x minus 4 and x plus 7 will still equal 0. Now from this I set up two small equations, and I know a lot of you do this in your head, but I'll have x minus 4 equals 0, x plus 7 equals 0. So I add 4 to each side, so I get x equals 4, and I'll get x equals negative 7. And those are my two solutions for this problem. Let's try another one. What if we have x squared minus 8x? This is one that gives people trouble because there is no c term. I mean, really, it's something that multiplies to get 0. So I know that's going to be 0 times something if 0 is my c term. But what we could also do is say both of these have an x in common. So if I take out that x that they both have in common, I'm dividing that away. X squared divided by x is just x. And minus 8x, or negative 8x divided by x, would be negative 8. Now just like before, I have two factors multiplied equals 0, so I break those into two pieces. X equals 0 and x minus 8 equals 0. My first one's already solved for. This last one I add 8 to both sides and I get x equals 8. So again, two solutions. What about x squared minus 4x minus 32? What do we need to get the two numbers to multiply to get? That would be negative 32. What do we need them to add to? Negative 4. So again, if I want to write out all my multiples, that would be 1 and 32, 2, 16, 3 does not divide, but 4 times 8 would work. 5, 6, and 7 don't work, and then I'm back to 8. So I want negative 4, I know positive 4 and negative 8 would work. So my factors here will be x plus 4 and x minus 8. Setting each of those equal to 0 and solving will give me my two solutions. I'll get x equals negative 4 and x equals 8. Alright, finally, this was another one that people had trouble with. It was x squared minus 144 equals 0. There's no b term here, so if anything, it's like a 0x for b. Now some of you may remember how this factors. There's a nice trick that whenever you get a perfect square number and a perfect square, we know it's going to be the same number, one positive, one negative. But even if you're not sure of that, when you're trying to think of what's going to multiply to get negative 144 that adds to get 0, the only thing that's going to add to get 0 here is negative 12 and positive 12. So when I factor this, it's going to be x minus 12 times x plus 12 equals 0. And when I go to solve these out, I'll get those as my answers also. X will equal positive 12 and x will equal negative 12. Once again, two solutions. I hope this helps. We'll continue to do these in class, but I want you to review and practice them on your own.